The Saints defense shuts down Chicago, and New Orleans is 5-0 with Teddy Bridgewater under center. But Drew Brees might be back next week. Plus, LSU's offense starts slow, but the Tigers force 3 turnovers and pull away in Starkville. It was a tough week for Tulane and Nichols, and the Pelicans tip off their season Tuesday, but without Zion Williamson. A special season continues for the Saints, and Sunday in Chicago, the Saints beat the Bears at their own game. I'm Doug Mouton. Welcome to 4th Down on 4. The Bears pride themselves on old-school smash-mouth football, and the Saints rushed for 8 times more yards than the Bears. Both Saints lines controlled the game, and somehow New Orleans is now 5-0 in games without number 9. Ricardo LeCompte reports from Soldier Field.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4.
No Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, or Jared Cook, and they were set to face a top 10 defense in the Bears at Soldier Field. But like they've done since week 3 in Seattle, the black and gold found a way to win with complimentary football. And we saw that right from the jump. The defense got a 3-and-out to start, and then a big special teams play, a punt block by J.T. Gray and safety gave New Orleans an early lead. The D then forced its first turnover of the game later, Von Bell forcing and recovering his 4th fumble of the year, which ties for the NFL lead, a play that had to initially be challenged.
Those guys upstairs felt strong about it. I didn't have an early view, and they felt like they had seen a pretty clear shot. And once we saw it, you could see.
It led to the game's first touchdown, and only one in the first half. Teddy Bridgewater finding Josh Hill, the fill-in for Cook. The Saints didn't need any more TDs, at least for the first half. The D harassed quarterback Mitchell Trubisky. Cam Jordan got his sack to move into sole possession of 3rd on the team's all-time sack list. He finished with 2. The Saints allowed just 81 yards of offense and 3 points in the first half, 252 yards for the game, plus 2 turnovers.
I said it early on this camp. I said we have the makings to be special. It's all about living up to expectation, exceeding expectations. And I feel like as long as we're trending upwards, as long as we're all trending and trying to correct mistakes, no one's going to be more critical of us than us.
Once we were able to do that, kind of able to tee off, force some turnovers, get our offense some short fields, and once our offense got rolling, you kind of saw this thing get out of hand.
And that O came out of the locker room firing away. And their drive ended with a Latavius Murray touchdown. The running back was a fine substitute for Kamara. He picked up the tough yards between the tackles while providing an outlet for Teddy Bridgewater. He finished with 119 yards rushing, 31 receiving, and 2 TDs.
We all here have a job to do. And so when a guy goes down, it's my job to step up and, make sure that, I'm contributing to winning football.
If we can play fast with tempo, we're unstoppable. And as you can see throughout the course of the game, as the game went on, we were able to wear and tear on those guys and open different holes for our running backs, and our receivers made plays. So the second half, we just made some adjustments and came back out playing fast, and it worked for us.
The way Michael Thomas, who caught 9 passes for 131 yards, and other offensive players performed was helped by being put in the right position to succeed. And Sean Payton once again drew up a masterful game plan. He was creative, even when calling a handoff option pitch between Zach Line and Taysom Hill, which went for 23 yards.
I kind of go into a game week with an expectation there's going to be something that coach has up his sleeve, and they've done a great job of, just having a play designed that the defense isn't prepared for, and then having the right instinct of when to call it, and that's what we saw tonight.
5 wins in a row. The Saints figuring out ways to win despite losing big names. And another one went down in the late stages of this game. Quarterback Eli Apple was injured in this end zone. Initial reports say a hyperextended knee. Potentially another loss for the Saints. But their track record says they can overcome it.
You don't stop playing football when one person go out. So you got to keep playing, keep striving, keep practicing. You got to think about it. If the teacher don't come to class, you got substitutes. Class don't stop. So this bus got to keep rolling. They still on this bus with us, and we're going to keep this thing moving.
And this bus is rolling on to 6-1 on the year. Reporting in Chicago, Ricardo LeCompte, 4th Down on 4.
Yeah, thanks, Ricardo. Right now, the Saints have a 1.5 lead over the Carolina Panthers in the NFC South. The Panthers were off this weekend. Now, after the Saints bye, they'll play 4 straight divisional games with a chance to put that race away. One more game, though, before the bye. The Arizona Cardinals come to the Superdome this Sunday. The question, will Drew Brees play? And Ricardo poses that question as we get some analysis from Chicago.
And joining me now is Mike Neighbors with CST, and we came into this contest thinking it was going to be a battle of defenses, 2 really good defenses, and in the end, it's the Saints defense that emerges on top. I don't know if we can come up with more superlatives for this unit because they have played well the last 4 weeks.
They're a complete football team. I mean, the thing about the defense that's fun is it's so many different guys. I mean, every series is somebody different, and they're making big plays from the D-line to the linebackers to the secondary. But what amazes you, and Teddy Bridgewater said it afterwards, we're survivors. I mean, not only are we missing Drew Brees, we're missing our lead running back in Alvin Kamara and Jared Cook as well, and they're still putting up points, and they're still winning on the road, too.
Yeah, every unit is picking up the slack with these guys out. We look on the offensive side, and I think I'm just amazed each week of the game plan that Sean Payton comes up. Yeah. I don't know, more than ever, maybe this could be arguably his best year just in terms of what he's had to do for game plans, missing so many people, and just being creative with what he's done, and it was on display tonight.
When you're a head coach like Sean Payton, you've had success for a long time, and we see turnover in this league where coaches come and coaches go. Sometimes you get taken for granted a little bit. I mean, Sean Payton's only been the coach of the year one time, Ricardo, and that was back in 2006. And that was an amazing coaching job coming off of Katrina. I think right now, if you had a coach of the year, it would definitely be Sean Payton. I mean, the play call that he had on 3rd and short, where fullback Zach Line does the option pitch to Taysom Hill, that's why he's coach of the year. I asked him about it after the game, and he said, short yardage play. I mean, he's not going to show his cards at all, but those are the kinds of plays that he calls. He utilizes all of his resources.
Yeah, it's incredible, especially what he's been able to kind of piece together in order for this team to stay undefeated without Drew Brees. Speaking of Drew Brees, you actually talked to him after this game. Of course, the national broadcast was saying that there was a target date for Brees to return next week against the Cardinals. You actually got to talk to Brees. What did he tell you?
Well, Sean Payton refuted that report and says, I'll let you guys know, meaning we haven't made a decision yet. And talking to Drew Brees, it's obvious they haven't made a decision yet, but Brees told me he's going to practice this week, and that's something he hasn't done. He's going to prepare like he's going to play. Didn't say whether he's going to play or not. I said, can you give me a percentage? No. But he was really adamant about being ahead of schedule. That was important to him. So we'll see how it plays out. He didn't give me any definitives, but he didn't say it was no possibility that he wouldn't play against Arizona. So I think it's going to be an interesting week asking Sean Payton about it, and we'll see how it develops.
I never would underestimate the desire for Drew Brees to get back on the field. I don't know if it's the wisest decision, but the thing is, New Orleans has been fine without him, improving, staying undefeated without Drew Brees under center. Mike, appreciate it. Doug, we'll send it back to you.
Coming up, we'll head to Starkville, where it took a little while for Joe Burrow and the LSU offense to get going. But Burrow put himself in the record books in the second half. And later, Tulane and Nicholls suffered blowout losses, and we'll preview the Pelicans' season opener this week.
The Tigers coverage is brought to you by Metro by T-Mobile, the best deal in wireless.
The next 2 for LSU, 9th-ranked Auburn, then number 1 Alabama. And Crimson Tide quarterback Tua Tagovailoa had ankle surgery this morning, but he is expected to be back for that LSU game in 3 weeks. Meanwhile, Saturday in Starkville, the Tigers took care of business. Andrew Doak was there.
Ed Ogeron still remembered what happened at Davis-Wade Stadium 2 years ago, where he suffered the most lopsided loss of his LSU career. But this was a new season and a new team with a new offense that at times looked like a unit that no one would be able to stop. But Ogeron could sense this day was coming, when they would have at least a slight stumble, such as Saturday.
We didn't play our best game today, but you know what? I knew this day was going to come. And I'm proud of our defense. 3 turnovers the first half. We had to settle for some field goals. It wasn't as sharp as we've been on offense, but I knew the offense was going to get the deep pass going. And overall, big win for our team.
In their first 3 trips to the red zone, LSU could not find a way to reach pay dirt, even when LSU was gifted a short field on their opening drive after Mississippi State gambled on a 4th and 1 on their own 45 and lost. So the Tigers decided to cash in on 3 points, 3 different times instead, not something they've become accustomed to as they jumped out to a 9-0 lead.
Yeah, there was frustration for sure. I mean, we were scoring just about every time we touched the ball, but there was no panic. So we knew that, we were moving the ball. We just had to execute better at the end of the drives.
And with just under 5.5 minutes to play in the first half, that's when the complexion of this game flipped. Mississippi State quarterback Garrett Schrader found a crease on a 12-yard rushing score to get the Bulldogs back within 2 points. But on the Tigers' ensuing drive, that's when the LSU offense took its first shot.
As soon as they scored, I could hear on the headset, we're going to respond. No, we got you, coach. We're going to respond.
One play later, LSU flexed their offensive muscle as Joe Burrow hit Racey McMath for a 60-yard scoring strike. And that was just the start to the barrage of punches the Tigers landed before the break.
While LSU was nursing a 15-7 lead, no bigger play defensively happened for LSU on Saturday than when Jacoby Stevens came down with a one-handed interception that led to LSU points off a Jamar Chase touchdown and gave the Tigers a 22-7 lead. But as Braden Fehoko told us after the game, Jacoby Stevens' play allows them to be even more multiple with their other safety, Grant Delpit.
I think the coaches have done a great job of scheming up our dime packages and allowing Grant to play in the box, but it's come from guys stepping up in the back end where, if we're going to bring down Grant in the box, we need another safety who can cover. So you look at Kerry Vincent, you look at those guys, Jacoby Stevens, who have stepped up in the coverage. It allows guys like Grant to come in the box and make plays.
That was a huge play for us. There was momentum going from Mississippi State, and that turnover gave us a little confidence going in the half. I knew it was going to come out in the third quarter and light it up. I just felt this team was a little sluggish at the beginning. I don't know why. We need to find out. But I knew that coming out of halftime, after what we talked about at halftime, this team was going to respond.
And so they did. Joe Burrow threw his 3rd and 4th touchdown passes of the game in the third quarter. All 4 of his TDs going to different LSU receivers. But his 4th touchdown toss to Justin Jefferson was a special one, as only 7 games into the 2019 season, Burrow set LSU's single-season record for touchdown passes with an absurd 29 already this year.
That just tells that this offense is very dangerous and we're willing to throw the ball down the field. And this is only halfway through the season and he already got the record. So I don't know how many more touchdowns he's going to get, but we're ready to go.
And despite a less than perfect effort on the road in Mississippi, all that matters is that the Tigers are a perfect 7-0 this season. From Starkville, Andrew Doak, 4th Down on 4.
All right, thanks, Andrew. And yes, thanks to that outstanding performance in Starkville, Joe Burrow is now 1st in the nation in completion percentage. He's hitting 79% of his passes, and he's tied for the most touchdown passes in the nation, as Andrew said, with 29. Now let's head back to Andrew in Starkville for some analysis afterwards.
All right, joined by Matt Trent of WBRZ Sports down in Baton Rouge. And Matt, obviously the defense for LSU, very impressive in this game. I thought Jacoby Stevens maybe had the best game of his Tiger career. Christian Fulton had a big bounce-back game, and the defense wins this turnover battle 3-0. And Ogeron said he felt like he knew a day like this was going to come where the offense doesn't play as well and the defense has to pick them up. What stood out to you about the defense today?
I mean, Coach Ogeron was right. I mean, we've had games all year where the offense has picked up the defense in poor games, and now it's kind of the defense's turn. I thought the first drive for Mississippi State, that 4th and 1, Schrader gets stuffed by Jacoby Stevens. I think that set the tone. I think that we knew right then it was going to be, okay, this is going to be a grinded out day for the defense. And I think overall the secondary played really well because they had to kind of dial up some different coverages to give Schrader a different look because he can throw it and he can run it. I think the defensive line was great. I think overall it might have been one of their maybe more complete games.
Looking to the offensive side, we know Joe Burrow breaks the single-season touchdown passing record for LSU, but I think lost in the mix sometimes is how good his receivers are. 4 touchdown passes to 4 different receivers. This group, I think, is up there with one of the best units in the country, right?
And again, I mean, mean, he loves to spread the wealth, and you saw it today. I mean, Justin Jefferson is probably as good in space or with some dudes on him than anyone in the country. I would love to see anyone else that has his flexibility to get out of stuff. And Jamar Chase was so good today. I think the only knock on Chase is that in the red zone those couple times, even though he did catch a touchdown, you're starting to see how the absence of Terrace Marshall is really affecting this offense. But again, these types of games are harder than the Alabamas and the Auburns because anybody can get up for a number one team in the country. These 3-3 games, Joe Burrow said it. He said, I woke up this morning and I didn't feel the same energy that I normally feel from everybody coming into a game.
Matt Trent of WBRZ Sports in Baton Rouge, thanks for being with us.
No problem.
We'll send it back to you.
Still ahead, Tulane quarterback Justin McMillan struggled, and the defense couldn't keep up with Memphis. And a similar thing happened to Chase Forcade and the Nichols Colonels. Plus, the Pelicans get ready to begin their season without Zion Williamson. If you want to find a bright spot, Tulane is now 10-3 in its last 13 games. Clearly, Willie Fritz has turned the corner uptown. But as Saturday night in Memphis showed, as far as competing for a conference championship, the Green Wave are not there yet.
Now from under center, McMillan will throw. It's intercepted.
Tulane had a chance to make a statement in Memphis, but literally nothing went right. Senior quarterback Justin McMillan, who had been excellent all season, threw 3 interceptions, 2 in the first half when the Green Wave were still in the game.
4-man rush. White looking for 6. It's caught by Calvin Austin for a touchdown.
And they had no answer for the Memphis offense. The Tigers had 5 first-half possessions and scored 5 touchdowns. And Memphis running back Kenneth Gainwell had an unbelievable game, rushing for more than 100 yards and catching passes for more than 200 yards. That's 307 in total for Gainwell. And the Tigers bring Tulane back down to earth, winning 47-17. Here are the updated American Athletic standings. Tulane has 5 conference games to go, and they might have to run the table to get to that conference championship game. The Green Wave's 2 wins are against Houston and UConn. Now, they still have to play Navy, Tulsa, Temple, Central Florida, and SMU. And those 4 games with the asterisks are all going to be tough. With 5 wins, Tulane only needs to win 1 more game to become bowl eligible. They are going bowling this season, but getting to the conference championship game now is a huge uphill battle. And in Huntsville, Texas, it was also a tough day for the Nichols Colonels.
A day comes in motion.
Nothing went right for Nichols Saturday. This play defined the game. It's an incredibly complicated screen pass, which goes for a 47-yard Sam Houston State touchdown.
5 touchdown!
The Bearcats won 17-0, and 2 numbers really stand out. The Colonels could not run the ball. 33 carries, just 55 yards rushing. That's just 1.7 yards per rush. The other number, Nichols turned the ball over 3 times and got 0 turnovers. You'll rarely win that way. But here's the top half of the Southland Conference. Southeastern was off this weekend, but notice, nobody is unbeaten in conference, and Nichols actually won the Southland last year with 2 losses. So, with the meat of the schedule still ahead, both the Colonels and the Lions are still alive for a conference championship. And guess what? In the heart of football season, the Pelicans tip off their season Tuesday night. The Pelicans finished up a perfect preseason, beating the Knicks Friday night, 5-0. Developing a culture of winning is certainly not a bad thing. But, of course, the negative, the Pelicans will be without Zion Williamson for what's being called a period of weeks with a knee injury, although it's not considered serious. Williamson was having an excellent preseason, and Alvin Gentry told reporters Friday, he's not dead, guys. But it is a bump in the road for a team that national experts think is close, but will not make the playoffs. ESPN's experts say the Pelicans will win 40 and lose 42, which would be 10th in the West. Of course, only 8 teams make the playoffs. Sports Illustrated says the Pelicans will finish 10th in the West. USA Today also has the Pelicans 10th. CBS Sports has them 9th. The bottom line is none of those national outlets actually have the Pelicans in the playoffs in the first year of the David Griffin reboot, but they all have New Orleans close. And it's a tough start to the season for the Pelicans. They open Tuesday night at the defending champion Raptors, who of course no longer have Kawhi Leonard. New Orleans plays Toronto twice in the first 9 games. 5 of those first 9 are on the road. It's a tough first 3 weeks without Zion Williamson. We're back with more 4th Down on 4 in a minute. Another monster weekend is coming. Join Ricardo and Andrew for 4th Down Friday. That's Friday night at 10:15. Then Saturday, LSU plays Auburn. It's here on Channel 4 at 2:30, and we will have an Eye on the Tigers post-game show afterwards. Then Sunday at noon, catch the Saints and the Cardinals here on Channel 4. And of course, we will be here to wrap it all up next Sunday night on 4th Down on 4. And that does it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We will see you next week on 4th Down on 4.